Hi, buddy. It's Crazy, and for another week. This week we're up to episode number 18. I'm getting farther into the book that I'm working on, which is Automate the Boring Stuff with Python. And I decided to do this book. This is one of the first books I've got, and I was really wanting to learn how to do Python, and this one was one of the ones that I had originally got. And then I got one that said, "Oh, Inventional Computer Games with Python." That was the one early on in this series. Uh, but this one didn't get any love because of the fact that it didn't have anything to do with games. But it does have a lot to do with Python itself, and I decided to do it because one of my friends, Day, on my Discord server, said it would be a good, one to kind of, figure out how to piece it together. And that was my problem. I was having issues, still kind of having issues trying to figure out how something goes in the block. I could see that it's a square peg. I see it goes in the square hole, but I just don't know how to get it there. That's my problem. It's trying to get it to that one spot. So, going through this book, I'm up to chapter 4, which is lists. And let me go ahead and bring it up. And this one just basically shows you what you would do, if you wanted to put all these without a list. If you wrote out all the code for each and every one of these, you got all this duplicate code except for that one number right there. So, and then you print it all out at the end, and it's like, okay, that's a lot of code for, you got to find a better way. So, I did, or next part of the chapter, it shows, teaches you how to use a while loop and if statements, to actually create, a list concatenation. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say it's concatenation. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not good at trying to figure it out that word out because it still sticks in my head wrong. Um, but it basically makes a good, a list concatenation. I'm gonna say concatenation. Uh, and so, I learned a little bit about it. It makes sense. It just adds, cat names, to name, with plus name. So it's kind of really neat how it works. Um, sorry, this one I kind of ran through pretty fast. So the next one I came up with was a little bit further down the road. It was called Magic 8 Ball. Yay! Everybody remembers the Magic 8 Ball, right? It would tell you different stuff. If you rolled the 8 ball around and you shook it and you say, "Okay, am I gonna win $1 million?" Yeah, I doubt it. So um, this one shows how uh, more about how Magic 8 Ball can be put into a list. Instead of writing them out each individual one, and it doesn't. It just chooses a random one from that group, or that string, but it doesn't do it from a list. And this one does it from a list. It's just a list of all the things that it can say, and it does, when you run the program, it randomly picks between 0 and the length of the messages, which is these, minus 1 because it starts from 0. So it basically tells you what to do. I mean, all this stuff is really starting to make sense, and it's starting to click because the first time I ever tried looking at this book, I got lost on the first chapter and was like, yeah, I'm in over my head. Got to try something else. And that's when I seen the one for doing working with Python and Pygame to create games. So I was like, yay, I'll do that. Then I'm up to this one right now, which is dictionaries and structuring data. And this one's called birthdays. And basically, it goes into a while loop. It says, okay, enter your name, blank to quit. So if you just hit enter, it would actually quit out. You know, you you would type in your name, and it would put underneath this variable name. It will go. It will say if name equals space, then break. And in other words, you're gonna break out of that loop. Okay. If name in birthday, then it prints out this statement here. If not, okay, it asks you if you want to be put in there, or it says your name's not in there, and it says what is your birthday, and then when you put your birthday in, it puts that underneath B-Day, and now your birthday's in the database. So dictionaries are fun. I like them. I just need to learn more about them. And so right now, let me go back over to the book. Let's see. Okay, that one right there. We're up to page 110. 110. Okay, so this is where I left off. This past week, and like I said, it's been more of a figuring out, getting the basics down, and try to do that. And one of the projects I did, see if I can find it. Practice project. I didn't want to execute it. Let's see here. Let's open that back up. We'll put that up on the screen. There we go. Okay, this one right here was most of the projects were a little rough for me because I followed what this says, and if you do it verbatim, it'll come up with something. I believe it was something like this right here. Let's see. No, I think I deleted all of them, but it came up with something similar to this here, and the only problem was I didn't come up with this. I was looking around and trying to see what I can find and see what people came up with, and I compared it to mine, and yeah, mine was this long drawn out process, and some of the stuff wouldn't work, and it was just it worked, but it didn't work right. It didn't work smoothly. And so I was looking at this, and I'm like, oh, we went into while loops. We went into the try and accept statements. You know, and my problem was still that I'm not seeing how to build stuff. I'm not seeing how to build programs. I see all the words and the meanings, they're all there, square peg. It's on IDLE, and that's the square hole, but yet when I go to try to put the square in, I'm not setting the square right in that hole, so it slides through. I haven't gotten that, and it's kind of frustrating because it's there. I understand it. I know what they mean. I know this is length of what's in list value. New spam is this is added to it, so it's just put in there, and it tries this, and if it fails, if it gets this, it says it, can't empty, list cannot be empty, program terminated, so I put that in there so that way I knew that if I, leave it blank, it's going to say, okay, well, you can't do that, and then it, breaks out of that loop, so my whole problem was trying to figure out how to put it in there. So it's going to be a work in progress, guys. I'm still working at it. Then I went to the next project, and basically you got this grid right here, okay? And it tells you to take that grid and put it in this heart pattern like this. And I don't know if I've got the other ones now. I just erased them. Okay, so I wrote my grid out, put it in a list in a list. And then I ran through each one and made each one have a space, where it returned a line. And then I did a for loop and ran it through. Again, not my exact code. Close, but no cigar. I was trying another way. I was doing, this right here, sort of. Okay, so I looked at this one and was like, okay, well, I could put, yeah, okay, I get it. I do understand it all, but I'm not writing this code. I'm not pulling it out and dropping it on paper, so to speak. I'm not, it's like that person who wants to write and goes to sit down in front of a notepad and says, okay, once upon a time. Once upon a time, there was... Once upon a time? That's kind of how I am with it right now. It's like, okay, I know what I got to do to put the story together. I know how, everything's got to fall into the story the way it's supposed to if I wanted to make it work right. That type of deal. I'm not getting it. And for some odd reason, it's just not setting there. It's not popping up as much as I would have hoped. So, again, this is just going through the basics, getting the information down. The practice projects scare me because it's like a test, and me with tests are terrible. I don't like tests. I've never did. I will fail a test if somebody told me it was a test. So just the way it works with me. um, but on the good note to that, I am going forward. I am figuring stuff out. I'm learning more. A lot more is being retained. And, with this book, let's see, hang on, let me go back to it real quick. With the way this book is set up, it does teach you. So hopefully later on, I can do some of them practice, not just the practice projects, but the the actual projects that they have in there and figure them out and be able to put them down. Because over here in this, I copied it down verbatim from the book. Okay, this is called Character Picture Grid. It says you have a list of lists where each value in the inner list is a one character string like this, and then it gives you the grid and all that. And it says you can think of a grid as X and Y as being the character at the X and Y coordinates. Okay, well I kind of get that because I did Pygame. I get that. Of a picture drawn with text characters. So the 0 and 0 origin and the Y coordinates increase going down. Okay, so each one changes. Or origin will be the upper left corner. The X coordinates, increase to going to the right, and the Y coordinates increase going down. Same thing as in Pygame, and making graphics on, on your screen. Okay, so it says copy the previous grid value and write code that uses it to print the image, which is this heart image. It says hint: you will need to use a loop to in order to print the grid 0 0, then grid 0 0 1 0, then grid 2 0, and so on up to grid 8 0. This will finish the first row. Okay, so right there, I automatically got lost. It was like, what? I don't understand this. So this is where I'm at. It's just practice questionings and trying to put it all together. So let's see, what am I up to? Yeah, about 12 minutes. So with that being said, so far I'm learning, but I still haven't figured out how to magically make it go in there. The magic of coding. I still have not grasped that square peg in the square hole yet. I'm thinking, that I'm hitting it wrong. I'm just not centering it right or something. Something is just a little bit off. So let me know in the comments, or hop on over to my server and let me know what you think. Say, hey, crazy, there's a better way to do this? Or hey, crazy, quit while you're ahead. Some people have said that a couple times. Won't mention any names, will I? But for the most part, hop on over to my server or drop a comment down in the comment section. If you don't know my server on Discord, you can check it out in the description right below. But so far, that's all I've got for this week. See you next time.